Hare Krishna, Namaste, chapter 18, which is entitled as Sannyasa Yoga. Sloka 51 through 53. Buddhyā viśuddhayā yuktaha dhṛtyātmānaṁ niyamya ca śabdādīn viśayāṁs tyaktvā rāga-dveṣau vyudasya ca vivikta-sevī laghv-āśī yata-vāk-kāya-mānasaḥ dhyāna-yoga-paro nityaṁ vairāgyaṁ samupāśritaḥ ahaṅkāraṁ balaṁ darpaṁ kāmaṁ krodhaṁ parigraham vimucya nirmamaḥ śāntah brahma-bhūyāya kalpate. What is being discussed in these three set of slokas are the requirement before one can attain atma-darshana, the vision of the self, atma. In other words, one must have achieved dhyāna-nishtha but not attained atma-darshana. Between these two stages, that is, before attaining atma-darshana, what are those things that are must after attaining dhyāna-nishtha is what being discussed in these three slokas. These three slokas are taken together because it is eka-abhiprāya, that is, the message or the opinion is on the same topic. When one passes this checklist that's been provided in these three slokas, then one satisfies the requirements and then one will be able to experience the self. Let's learn the meaning of this sloka. Viśuddhayā, with fully purified, clear regarding the Atma Tattva. Buddhyā yuktaha, having understanding. Dhṛtyā, by determination, through abstraining the affinity for sense object. This is Sattvika Dhriti. We learnt about this Dhriti in the same chapter, Sloka 33. Dhṛtyāyaya dhārayate mana-pranendriya kriyaha yogina vyabhicharinya dhriti sa partha sattviki. That determination of mind by which one maintains the activities of the mind, the vital airs and the organs continuously and without any deviation to assist in the contemplation of God for attaining liberation is Sattviki Dhriti. And that Sattviki Dhriti is what mentioned here as dhṛtyā. Atmānaṁ, the mind. Here Atma Shabda refers to mind. Niyamya ca, by controlling, that is, by making it fit to perform yoga. śabdādīn viṣayāṁs tyaktvā, removing sound, touch, form, etc. rāga-dveṣau, the desire and dislike that arise in the mind with regard to these things. vyudasya ca, eliminating. vivikta-sevī, secluded place. laghv-āśī, eating sparingly, moderately. yata-vāk-kāya-mānasaḥ, subduing the speech, body and mind, engaging them in Atma. nityaṁ dhyāna-yoga-paro, devoted to meditation every day. vairāgyaṁ samupāśritaḥ, convinced about the blemishes in the material object, developing dispassion. ahaṅkāraṁ, the disposition to mistake the body for the self. balaṁ, false strength, the power of bad tendencies. which nourish it, darpaṁ, the arrogance thus generated out of pride, kāmaṁ, desire, krodhaṁ, anger, parigraham, and the objects which cause them, vimucya, forsaking, that is to give up entirely, nirmamaḥ, without a sense of proprietorship, śānto, peaceful, engaged in the meditation of the self, brahma-bhūyāya, worthy of experiencing the self, kalpate, becomes qualified. Translation: being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship, and peaceful, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. There are a total of 17 items or the requirements mentioned in these 3 slokas. If we combine kāmaṁ and krodhaṁ together, then there are 16. Now let's go through these items. Buddhyā, viśuddhayā, yukto. When one is purified by intelligence, he keeps himself in the mode of goodness. This is mentioned in the purport. That means one is endowed with a purified buddhi. Buddhi means intellect. Here buddhi refers to the knowledge concerning about the self, atma. It is the purity of buddhi, consists of the ability to comprehend the subject matter of atma fully. When a person has a purified buddhi, that means he is free from any doubts or contrary understanding regarding atma. He will not have doubts like, does atma really exist? Is atma really part and parcel of the Lord? And contrary knowledge like, atma is not real, atma is not eternal, atma is momentary. One may say, there's only one atma, there is no many atmas. Another thing where atma is that God, everything else is false. Atma is body, atma is prana, and like this so many different contrary knowledge. But the person who has a buddhyā, viśuddhayā, yukto knows very well that atma is jnana swarupa, made of jnana. In its original state, it is satchit ananda. It exists, it is full of knowledge, it is full of bliss. Due to the past karma, this atma is present into this body. So one who is endowed with the purified buddhi is buddhyā viśuddhayā yukto. Next, dhṛtyātmānaṁ niyamya, applying the dhriti in the mode of goodness, that is, to control the mind from straying into material interests. It should be directed to constantly think of the self only. Here what it meant by dhṛtyātmānaṁ niyamya is to subjugate the mind with courage. That is called dhriti. Not to get distracted with any sort of side benefits, but having the determination to attain the ultimate goal, trying to achieve the cooperation of mind, prana, and indriyas through satviki dhriti. Next, śabdādīn viśayāṁs tyaktvā, control of senses from the sense objects. Though one may control the mind, the senses may be for lookout. One may ask a question: this candidate who was past dhyāna-nishtha stage should have already got rid of desire for material things. Then why ask him to do the same? The message here is that he should also get liberated himself from their presence in his proximity. They should not be around him, or he should not be around them. If he is surrounded by material objects, their pull can influence even a jitendriya, one who has controlled his senses, one who has mastered controlling his senses, may also be influenced by these material objects. śabdādīn viśayāṁs tyaktvā. Next, rāga-dveṣau vyudasya, casting away, casting aside likes and dislikes relating to sense objects, shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, all those things. One can be free of raga and dveṣau only if one has done the previous, which is śabdādīn viśayāṁs tyaktvā, keeping the sense objects away. Then rāga-dveṣau vyudasya is possible. The likes and dislikes only happens when we have those objects, material objects, in our proximity. If they are not, then we will not have likes and dislikes because we are not exposed to them. Taking this one level above, whether the objects, material object present in proximity or not, one on the mind level should be completely controlled not to have likes and dislikes. Vivikta-sevī, living in a secluded place to perform dhyāna. One may ask, how can a person who is practicing karma yoga can go to a secluded place? Well, when it comes to dhyāna, one certainly needs to find some free time and a place which is free of any disturbances to the mind, body and senses. Krishna did mention this in the 6th chapter, 11th sloka. Sucho deshe pratistapya sthiramasanaṁ atmanah. One should find a place which is clean. When the place for dhyana is not clean, our consciousness is not going to be clean. If the place is smelly, then we won't be able to focus. If the place is too noisy, again, we can't bring our attention to Atma. Certainly one cannot perform dhyana having their cell phone next to them. Krishna said in that chapter 6, that one should be neither sitting too high nor too low. You sit too high, there's a fear of falling down. If you sit too low, then there is a fear of insects and so forth. So one has to find a place which is free of obstacle, vivikta-sevī, and practice dhyana. So it should be a secluded place. Question may arise, well, what about association of devotees if we be in a secluded place? Isn't it true that we should always be in the association of devotees? Answer is yes, it is true, but also not true. It is true all the time, but it is not true when we perform dhyana. During the dhyana period, certainly one should be by oneself, free from the crowd. Unless one practices this, one will not be able to attain the dhyāna-nishtha stage. Then, where is the question of Atma Darshana? If there is no dhyana, then there won't be a process to clear the contaminated mind. If one is not clear from contamination of the mind, then one will not be able to proceed any further. Now, there could be another question I am practicing Krishna consciousness. We are surrendered souls. Therefore, we don't need to practice any of this, the dhyana program. But we should know the fact the previous acharyas have certainly involved in dhyana. They were meditating upon the Lord's qualities, pastimes. We hear that from their biography. The difference is for those who are in the path of jnana yoga, this dhyana is a requirement to attain that bhakti. Whereas for those who are in the path of Krishna consciousness, in other words, those who are surrendered to the Lord, this dhyana is not the mean to attain the Lord, but it is done to spend some time in this world as long as we live. A devotee may get free times sometimes, besides their services, besides their responsibilities. During that time, the devotees meditate upon the Lord's beautiful form, His qualities, and His pastimes. Dhyana Nishtha is where one is able to completely fix one's mind in the Atma for a given duration without distraction. Higher than that is where even during non-dhyana period, one's mind is still fixed in the self. That is considered the higher level. We are sticking on to the context, therefore we are saying self, Atma, but this can be also very well referred to the Paramatma, the Lord within us. We have covered 5 so far, 4 from the 51st sloka and the 5th one from 52nd sloka. Buddhyā viśuddhayā yukto dhṛtyātmānaṁ niyamya ca śabdādīn viśayāṁs tyaktvā rāga-dveṣau vyudasya ca vivikta-sevī. This is what we have covered so far.
Namaste. Hare Krishna.